I want to talk about depression and suicide. How's it going, guys? My name is xsirvx. Depression and suicide are things that I've dealt with. Suicide I've dealt with through people I know. Depression I've dealt with very personally, along with other people that I know. I'm making this video because on July 4th I found out that a friend of mine had died from suicide. I hold the weight of his death very dear to me. Now, he was a friend, by all means. I wasn't somebody that I talked to regularly. I haven't known him an extraordinarily long time. But I do know that our interactions were impactful. He was a tough guy. Very strong. Both physically, and he was very strong emotionally. Played everything close to the chest, and you could tell. He was the kind of guy that when you look at him, you were afraid of him, and that's how people treated him. I've never been one that likes to judge somebody based off of how they look. I like to really know a person before I have any type of judgment about them. If I ever did make a judgment about somebody based off how they look, I always give them the benefit of the doubt, and I let a conversation decide my feelings about them. And you know what? Most of the time, looks are very deceiving. I got to know him, and he was just one of the nicest guys. Give the shirt off his back to you. Don't get me wrong, you wouldn't want to fight him, alright? But he was extraordinarily nice. He worked with me. That's where we met. And the first time that I talked to him, he was smoking, I was smoking. And so I just went over, sat down, and we just started chatting. And I knew at that moment that, everybody's perception of the guy was very off. He was a very nice person. And two, he needed somebody at work to treat him well. He wasn't mistreated, don't get me wrong, but the last thing he said to me before either I went inside or he went inside is, "Hey man, when you talk to people inside, can you let them know I don't want to hurt them? Because they all avoid me." Which, at the time, at first I kind of thought it was funny, and then it kind of broke my heart, because here's a dude who is extraordinarily nice, and everybody just assumes, because he looks intimidating, that he's scary. And this is something I've actually dealt with. I present myself as a big teddy bear. I try to. But when I was in my prime, I was a scary looking person. Just remember, your physical appearance means nothing about who you are. That's a side tangent. So I got to know him. I hired him, paid him some extra money to help me with some work around the house and different kind of stuff. Talking to him, I realized it was hard for him to hold down a job, or not even necessarily hold down a job because he was such a hard worker, but just to get a job because of the way he looked. He was just too scary looking. Well, he made a mistake, and he did lose his job. It was shortly after that he ended up taking his life. I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to say what job I met him at. I don't want to put his name out there and his death out there, just to be respectful to the family. But I hold his death very personal to me, because in prayer, he came to my mind on the day that he killed himself. It was very clear I should reach out to him. And I thought to myself, yeah, you know what? I should reach out to him. I haven't talked to him in a while. I'll see how he's doing. I'll do that sometime. And then he was gone. Whether or not you believe in God, any other higher power, whether or not you're religious, that's fine. I don't want to debate that. But me, I'm very religious. I believe in God. I believe in the power of prayer. And I believe that you should do what God asks you to do. I didn't know it was an order. It just, I think a lot. I have ADD. Sometimes when I'm praying, I will all of a sudden find myself thinking about some game I played 20 years ago. And I'm like, how did I get here? So I assume that was one of these moments. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't blame myself for his death. That would be silly. But I do blame myself for him not being alive. And I know that sounds equally silly, but I could have reached out, I could have talked to him, and maybe things would be different. Who knows? All this to say, if any of you ever feel depression, talk to somebody. Find somebody to talk to. There's people you can talk to for free. You don't have to pay for a therapist. I'm sure you have friends or family, but if you don't have friends or family that you can reach out to, or you don't feel comfortable reaching out to, go to a local church. Try to talk to the pastor. I can't imagine any pastor would charge for it, but they will absolutely talk with you and counsel you if you need it for free. If you don't have anybody to reach out to, if you don't feel comfortable going to a church, please email me. Contact me on Instagram or Twitter, preferably Instagram, or you can send me a personal email, xsirvx@gmail.com. It's easy as that. I'm more than happy to talk and, just love on all of you. You all are beautiful, wonderful, and awesome. That's why I picked that as our group here, as my people, as the BWA. Beautiful, wonderful, and awesome. Because you know what? For a lot of my life, I never felt beautiful, wonderful, and awesome. And I realized that was largely mental on my part. And I just want to tell people, there's people out there who don't get the kind of love and just admiration that they deserve. And I just need to tell them, you are beautiful, you are wonderful, you are awesome, and you are loved. BWAL, BWAL. You are beautiful, you're wonderful, and you are awesome. If you are dealing with any type of depression, if you're dealing with any type of suicidal thoughts, please reach out to somebody. If you need to, please reach out to me. I've been thinking about him nonstop. I've been thinking about this nonstop. I've been struggling with whether or not I wanted to make this video. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. If you're not following on Twitch, follow on Twitch. We stream every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But just please remember, you are beautiful, you are wonderful, and you are awesome. And you are loved. Goodbye.